Good evening, everybody. It is Wednesday, the 20th of May. It's 7 p.m. here in the UK, and we have another Dream Whiskies live broadcast set up for you this evening. As ever, lots of stuff on the go. Let me run through our program for this evening. So, as ever, we have our Mix With Me challenge coming up right towards the end of our broadcast. So make sure that you're with us for that, and hopefully you've got all the ingredients. I'll just run through those in a second when a few more people join us. We got 2 whiskey cocktails of the week as ever, and actually this time I'm doing a special one which was invented by an amazing bartender, a great colleague of mine, and I'll be sharing a bit more about that with you in a second. Obviously, we've got our winners from last week's competitions coming up, plus a whole load of other stuff. So before we do anything, as ever, let's say hello to a few people, and also let's get a whiskey on the go. So who's with us? Jeff, hi, how are you doing? Paul, always great to see you. And Steve and Bruce, hi, how you doing? Bruce saying hello to the full clan. That's always good to see as well. Kieran. Steve has got an Aberfeldy on the go already. Adrian, how are you doing? And Gary, great to see you as well. So this evening, I'm going to have a Chivas. I've got a Chivas Regal 18, which I love this whiskey. It's a beautiful, smooth, really sort of caramelly, toffee type whiskey. It's something that I haven't actually had on the go for quite a while. So I thought I would get some of this into play this evening. So that's what I have. Cheers to all of you who are with us already, and like I say, let me know what you've got. We know Steve's got another Aberfeldy on the go. Tell me what you've got on the go as well. Cheers, everybody. Delicious. All right, so I want to say a few words about the Mix With Me challenge at the end of our broadcast. First of all, if you don't already know, I put the ingredients up a few days ago, so hopefully if you're playing, if you're going to mix along with me, then you know what the ingredients are. But just to quickly remind you, if you don't, 5 ingredients tonight. It is whiskey, of course, because it's a whiskey-based cocktail. Then I said vanilla. So I'm using a vanilla liqueur. If you don't have liqueur, you can use a vanilla syrup. If you don't have a syrup, you can use vanilla essence. Whatever one you have is absolutely fine. But I'm using a vanilla liqueur. I've also got banana, some nutmeg, and some almond milk. So I'm using an almond milk, but if you've got another nut-based milk like hazelnut milk, that's absolutely fine as well. And actually, if you haven't got any of those, I mean, coconut milk you could use, or if you just want to use milk, but I will be using an almond milk this evening. So we will need those 5 ingredients for our Mix With Me cocktail at the end, or towards the end of our broadcast. I know that a number of you are definitely in the game this evening because you've already let me know that that's the case. And you may notice that I've got a blender here. Now, that is because our Mix With Me cocktail is better blended. So I will be doing both. If you can get hold of a blender or you have one to hand, then you will need a blender. But I will be making 2 versions of it simultaneously. So I'll be making one if you don't have a blender, i.e. I'll be shaking the ingredients, or a second one if you do have a blender. And that will all become clear later on, but if you've got a blender, obviously grab hold of it. Mark Coyle, how you doing? The evening, Paul, another crack of a shirt. Thank you very much. And the beard indeed is coming along nicely. I think these are just called lockdown beards, aren't they? I've noticed more and more guys with beards. Barry, hi, how you doing? Not here again, which is always good to see. Stuart, good evening. Cheryl, hi Bruce, hope you're well. So Nikki, hi Nikki. Bruce, what's going on? Paul Slade, drinking a really nice Talisker Distillers Edition. Of course you are, because that's what you won last week, wasn't it? Congratulations to you, Paul. Kieran's got a Springbank 12-year-old. By the way, Paul, tell us exactly how nice that is. Michael, already Richard. I wasn't sure whether we were allowed to call you Michael, but you said that's absolutely fine. So already Richard Webster, that's Michael Nolan, our 2 times Whiskey Geek of the Week. Hi, how you doing? Bob, good to see you as well. Kaz, hi, and Barry, my beard is permanent. Okay, so you're like a full-time beardy guy. All right. Cool. So where should we start? Let's start with the winners for our competition over the last week. So we have our whiskey competition, our members whiskey competition, which, as you know, Paul Slade there in the comments is already drinking his prize from winning it last week. That is the Talisker Distillers Edition. And it runs every Tuesday, or from Tuesday midnight to Tuesday midnight. This week's winner, just to prove to you all that lightning does strike twice, and it's not the first time, by the way, that we've had lightning strike twice in this, but we have a previous winner who's up again. Now, the only thing that this tells you, well, actually two things it tells you. One is if you've won the competition once, it doesn't mean you can't win it again. And secondly, it also tells you the actual number of members that are playing it is relatively small. I don't want to tell you exactly what it is, but it's small, which means that if you join us, you actually have a fabulous chance of winning. But this week's winner of the whiskey competition is actually the same person who won the very last of our old style competitions back in January when he picked up a bottle of Johnnie Walker Blue Label then. We don't know what he's going to win this week because he has to choose the prize. I don't even know if he's online properly or not, because I don't think he joins these broadcasts, but we know he's a member. Congratulations to our winner for last week, and that is Mark Milson. Congratulations, two-time winner on the whiskey competition. Fabulous. We also have the winner of last week's Spot Prize giveaway. That's when we ask questions about the broadcast. And I don't know if you remember, we were giving away this Malt Whiskey Yearbook for 2020. And the winner of that is Dave Chilton. Dave, I don't know where you are from. I know that Mark is from the UK. I don't know where you're from though, Dave. But if you're online, congratulations. If not, both of you, I will obviously be writing to you tomorrow just to do this officially. Who else is with us? Bob, hey, a little late. No, Bob, not late at all. You're with us. David Rose, good to see you. I hope you're enjoying the evening stand. Got a Glen Scotia Victoriana in the glass tonight. Dave, you're a bit of a specialist with the old whiskey, that's for sure. Paul saying that his Talisker Distillers is about as good as a 25-year-old. So excellent, that's great. Thrilled to know that. Various congratulations to Mark, lucky Mark, absolutely. Listen, it's the way it falls. I think the other thing it shows is that I don't pick personally who wins. It's all done by our software. As long as you have correct entries into our competition, you go into the hat. The more entries you got in there, then the better chance you got, I guess. Congrats. Lots of congratulations by everyone. Good job. All right, well done. So let me tell you what our Spot Prize is for this week. So like I say, Dave Chilton's won the book from last week. Spot Prize for this week is this. It's this little taster pack of Talisker whiskies, which I'm sure has already raised an eyebrow in Paul Slade's house. You got I think these are 50 ml or 5 cl, so 3 bottles of 5 cls. So you got a bottle of Talisker Sky, Talisker Storm, and Talisker 10-year-old. So the winner of this week's Spot Prize, which again comes up right at the end of our broadcast, will win those this week. So a nice little prize, I think, on the go for this week. As ever, we also have what is now becoming very popular Whiskey Geek of the Week competition. That's where I run a sort of quiz through the broadcast, and the person that wins it at the end of the broadcast gets their picture in our Whiskey Geek of the Week gallery on our website, and of course we post you onto our Facebook page as well. We've already had a double winner in the shape of Michael Nolan, and who's going to be our Whiskey Geek of the Week for this week? So this week we have a dozen questions for you to test your Whiskey Geek knowledge. At the end, if we have a tie, as ever, there's going to be a tie-break question as well. So if you are in and ready, I'm going to give you the first 3 questions of our Whiskey Geek competition for this week. You might want to grab yourself a pen, a pencil, some paper, or you know how it works. You can always rewind it as well. Mind you, if you rewind and watch this on record, you're going to miss the competition at the end. So I guess you've got to do this while we are live. Just giving you a chance to get a pencil and paper, or pen and paper. Let's see what else you're drinking out there. Bruce, you got a whiskey sour with Crown Royal Black and Blood Orange. I think Bruce, I don't know, actually, the only thing I know about Bruce, obviously, is that he's always there. You're always there, Bruce, which is fantastic. But I don't know, you seem to have like a real sort of mixologist brain on you. Every time you're posting, you've got another mix on the go. You got a background in alcohol, or is it just a passion? I wanted to ask you that for a couple of weeks, actually, Bruce. Paul Slade saying, nice. Steve Simpson, Talisker is one of my favorites. It's an awesome giveaway. Yes, thank you very much. Love all 3, says Barry. And nice shirt, says Nikki. Thank you very much, Nikki. All right. Hopefully, you all have a pen and paper. And I'm going to give you the first 3 questions of this week's Whiskey Geek of the Week quiz. Now, last week, different questions had different point value. This week, every question is 1 point. So you see the right or wrong. Let's see how it goes. So question number 1, by the way, cheers. Question number 1 if you stop the whiskey making process just before distillation, what other popular beverage would you be left with? So if you were making whiskey from scratch and just before you went to distillation, you stopped, what other popular beverage would you have? Now, if you're a whiskey lover, if you're the sort of person that has gone around whiskey distilleries, reads about it in books, looks at it on the net, you will know the answer to that. And if you're not, there's a good chance you might know that anyway, I think. Bruce, I like to experiment. Absolutely. John Matthews has joined. John. So John is my father-in-law. And John, I taught the other day, hopefully, at a distance, obviously, because everyone's socially distancing, but how to comment on the broadcast. So I'm hoping that you're working it out tonight, John, and you're going to send me, like, I don't know, big hug or something like that. Luca, hi, how are you doing? Good, I'm glad you joined us. All right, so that was question number one. Question number two. I call this question E or not to E. That is the question. So when we refer to Scotch whiskey, we spell the word whiskey, W-H-I-S-K-Y, without an E. You all know that. When we talk about American whiskey, we spell it W-H-I-S-K-E-Y with an E. So without an E and with an E. But interestingly, outside of the USA, there is only one other country that regularly spells whiskey with an E. What is that country? You know what it is. Easy questions to start with, just to get you going. Cheryl's saying, hi, Dad. That's just to prove that Cheryl's my wife and John is my father-in-law. Lots of family online tonight. That's good. By the way, I always mean to ask you guys to do this. Look, it's really important for us that we try to spread this broadcast as far as we can. So if you can share this, you know, while we're live, just share it on your stream. I really appreciate that. It means a big deal to me. So just as well as a lot of you very kindly hit the like buttons and stuff like that, hit that share button, put it out there, just invite some other people in. The more of you that do that, then the better chance we got of building our audience, which hopefully you agree with me, we need to do. We need to get more people watching this. As much as I know for many of you, it's like a little private club. Question number three, before we get to our first cocktail of the week. This is our question number three, obviously, for our Whiskey Geek of Week quiz. John! Hi, Paul. Amazing. I can now tell. John, everybody give John a round of applause. Congratulate him. He's been watching this for weeks and weeks and weeks without being able to comment, and now he's put a comment up there. Absolutely brilliant. Question number three. Here we go. At the 2020 World Whiskey Awards, which country produced the world's best single malt? I'll give you a clue. At the 2020 World Whiskey Awards, the winner of the world's best single malt was not Scottish. All right, that's your clue. But the actual question is, which country did produce the winning whiskey? So that is questions 1, 2, and 3. Bruce sharing now. Thank you very much. Cheryl Martin saying at last. I think that's to John, definitely. Share away, please. Share away. All right. So we're going to go into cocktail number one. And cocktail number one, actually, tonight, I was thinking about this. And an old friend, an old colleague, someone that I really respect in the cocktail business came to mind this week. And it's a friend of mine called Salim Khoury. And Salim is now retired. He retired some years ago. But a really great bartender and an iconic bartender, in particular in the UK. And I thought of a drink that he made that won him the title of Bartender of the Year many years ago. But I also put in my book, this book here, which is 101 award-winning cocktails. Now, his drink is a gin-based cocktail. But I've been playing around with it to see if I can make it a whiskey-based version. And it really works as a whiskey-based version. I'm going to do the whiskey-based version for you in a second. But I just wanted to tell you about Salim. So if you bear with me for a second, I'm going to tell you a little bit about Salim. So the drink is really interesting. Combination of Campari, gin, Cointreau, passion fruit juice, and a splash of egg white. And I asked him for a quote for the book, and he said, look, it was called The Blushing Monarch. And he said, I created this in the early 90s when I was working at the Savoy. It was called The Blushing Monarch, and it won me the coveted title of Barman of the Year It was the overwhelming winner with the judges. My inspiration in those days was Princess Diana. And when one of the judges asked me why I called it that, my answer was, it was pink, it was elegant, it was blushing. So Salim was born in Lebanon. He actually started as a bartender in 1960 as a 15-year-old in a bar in Beirut. And 9 years later, he arrived in the UK and he took a job at the American bar in the Savoy, where he spent the whole of his career. So 42 years working at the American bar at the Savoy Hotel in London. He eventually became the head bartender at the American bar. And in 1992, he won the Bartender of the Year title. And this was at a time when companies like Diageo and Bacardi, who have incredible cocktail competitions around the world, they didn't exist at the time. Becoming Bartender of the Year was one of the biggest titles you could get as a bartender. So I consider Salim a friend. I actually haven't seen him for a while, and that has a lot to do with the fact that he has retired and he's moved off to places where he can live and play golf. But he's a very kind man, and I love this drink. So this is my whiskey version of Salim's Blushing Monarch. And I'm going to take this glass. This is the glass that I'm going to put it in. Just want to see if anyone else is talking to me, because I'm not seeing comments coming up. Got some clapping from Kaz. Paul, Gratz, John, we need more Silver Surfers. Absolutely right. So not many comments up there, but hopefully you're quite interested in what I'm saying about Salim, and now Salim's drink. So we're going to take my shaker, and the first thing that we're going to do, obviously, is add our whiskey. And I'm going to put in 20 ml of whiskey, and I'm going to use my shivers that I've got on the go. So this is 20 ml of whiskey. Then I'm going to add the Campari. Now, even though this is a whiskey-based drink, the Campari is the biggest quantity in this drink. So we're putting 40 ml of the Campari in. So it's twice as much as we have of the whiskey. And you might think that that's rather overpowering, but this drink blends absolutely sensationally. So no fear about what's going on there. Now, the next ingredient is Cointreau Triple Sec. I'm actually using Grand Marnier. But Grand Marnier is a triple sec style, it is a Cointreau style, it's really orangey, so it's the same flavor, but it's probably richer in those orange flavors. So I think it works really well with the Campari. And again, 20 ml. So we've got 20 ml so far of the whiskey, the same of the Grand Marnier, and 40 ml of the Campari. Now some passion juice. And I decided that I was going to use passion juice a couple of times tonight. So I've got another cocktail coming up that uses passion juice. And I'm going to put in a small amount of passion juice. So in relation to what's in there, it's not much, but it's enough to give the passion, that passion-y, fruity flavor, and of course the passion of the cocktail. And then the final thing is some egg whites. So I'm just going to crack this egg here. Salim actually puts this as an optional ingredient in his cocktail recipe. But I can tell you from personal experience of working with Salim, let's pop that in there, because I don't need the yolk, that when he makes this drink, he uses the egg white. So he says it's optional, but actually he likes to have it in there. So we've got all our ingredients. I'm now going to add some ice, as ever. And we're going to give this a really good shake. So get the top of my cocktail shaker, get that on nice and tight, and give it a really good shake. Making sure that all of those flavors blend, and of course making sure that that egg white froths up into that lovely sort of frothy head that we want on the surface of this drink. Very quickly open that, take my strainer and strain into this beautiful glass. And if we get this right, it will start to separate. The froth and the egg white will come to the top to create that sort of frothy head. And what is currently a pink colored drink will start to separate and deepen in color and look a bit redder. And it's a strange one, this actually, because if you are not a Campari fan, you're going to think that Campari and the amount of Campari that's in there is actually going to put me off the drink. But as with any skillful master mixologist, somebody who really knows how to blend flavors, and let's face it, this was essentially the world's best cocktail in 1992-93, then what you do is you end up with something that sort of blows your mind in terms of its balance. Let me have a taste right now. You know, I love Salim's cocktail with gin. I think I love it almost as much when we use whiskey. Both of them are just sensational drinks, and I take pleasure actually in sharing the Blushing Monarch with you guys. So that's our cocktail number one. Who's talking to us? Nikki shared, thank you very much. Cheryl, I'm not feeling good about this one, not a lover of Campari. No, well, we know what happens with Cheryl. No, we know that she finds her way into the bar and ends up sampling everything. I know that she doesn't like Campari, but I'm going to say that she might just like this one. Jeff, just got your 101 award-winning cocktails book as a birthday present. Excellent. Thank you, Jeff. You know what? I heard that we sold a copy. It turns out that whoever bought it for you bought it. I hope you like the book, actually, Jeff. It was a real labor of love. Took me a long time to pull all that stuff together with so many bartenders. But yeah, I hope you enjoy the book. And if you look carefully, one of my recipes is in there as well. Del, what's the role of the egg white? Right, so the egg white is in there for two reasons. One is when you shake egg white into a drink, it gives a sort of smooth, silky mouthfeel to the drink. So in a way, it makes it more creamy on your palate, even though there's no cream in it. And then the froth at the top is a little bit like drinking through a sort of flavored meringue, but not a set meringue, but a soft meringue. So again, it's more about the experience of the drink. In truth, it adds quite an interesting quality, and a lot of bartenders like using it for that very reason. Cheryl's saying, shall I try it, guys? Barry's saying no. Paul says yes, go for it. Bruce is saying you have to. We need to see the hand. Kaz is saying, gone, no, but not yet, Kaz, because it's still there, but who knows? I can hear movement. I'm just not sure what movement I can hear. There is a chance. Maybe if I sort of distract you. It's a little bit like Santa Claus, I think. You know, if you're looking at the chimney, Santa Claus never appears. On the other hand, you know, if you go to sleep or the kids go to sleep or we distract you, you end up and Santa Claus, before you know it, is in the game. Right, so while we are wondering whether or not Cheryl's going to break the habit of a lifetime and actually end up tasting this drink, let's move on to the second round of our Whiskey Geek of the Week competition. So that is questions number 4, 5, and 6. They'll say, if you swap it out with gin, any particular flavor profile recommended? Well, the only thing that I can tell you, Del, is that when Salim created this drink, he was using a classic London dry gin. So you want something that is dry and citrusy, I would say. You can even go old school on this and go for something like a Beefeater because it's really citrusy, definitely very dry gin. It might work really well. Del, thanks, it's great, excellent. And of course, you should try it. I think that's too good. Hold on a second. I've got a feeling someone's just sneaked in and I just caught a thumbs down in the corner of my, did any of you see that? Gone now, says Kaz. Yeah, gone now and back. I think you can see the fact that it's still there means that it's a definite thumbs down. But look, that is no comment on the quality of this drink because I think we all know now that Cheryl is not the world's #1 Campari lover. She might be the #1 Campari disliker. Hi, a bit late joining, but here now, Dave. Oh, Dave, do you know you won something? Dave, you won our spot prize from last week. Am I right? Let me just check that I've got the right person. Dave Chilton. Yeah, Dave, it was you. You won our spot prize, so you get the Whiskey Yearbook. I was going to write to you tomorrow, but you're here now, so congratulations. Lubka, Paul, I have a problem with giving it a good shake. What to do if one has weak arms? Oh, Lubka, you might have to ask someone else to shake it for you. Kaz, yes, it's back. She didn't like that too much. Lubka, gone. Yes, thumbs down, says Dave. Yeah, yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, so Cheryl's passed comments on that. All right, let's move on to the next stage of our quiz. Who is going to be our Whiskey Geek of the Week this is the 8th week we've been doing Whiskey Geek of the Week. Now, it's quite nice actually to see the gallery up on our website. Have you guys all been over to the website and seen it? Question number 4, here we go. Question number 4. Apart from Lynchburg in Tennessee, in how many other countries is Jack Daniel produced? So obviously they make Jack Daniels in Lynchburg in Tennessee, but where else do they make it? How many other countries? Okay, that was question 4. Actually, it made me think of another Jack Daniels question for you as well. So I got a couple of Jack Daniels here. So 4, 5, and 6 are related to Jack Daniels, I think. Cheers again, by the way. I must admit, I got my eye on my whiskey version of Salim's drink over there. Question 5. Where is the only place in Lynchburg where you can legally buy a bottle of Jack Daniels? This might sound crazy, right? But Lynchburg, in Tennessee, the home of Jack Daniels, there is only one place in that county where you can legally buy Jack Daniels. And that's because it's a dry county. They never repealed prohibition there. So where can you buy one? There's only one place you can buy it. That was question 5. Question 5. I'm already thinking about the next cocktail that I'm going to make for you. Really sort of looking forward to this one as well. Actually, I'm always looking forward to the cocktails. Here we go. Question 6. So this is 6 of 12. And the last one before our next cocktail. So how did Jack Daniels die? Or Jack Daniel? Because he wasn't called Daniels. The whiskey is called Jack Daniels whiskey, isn't it? So how did Jack Daniel die? And I'm going to give you choices here. So this is a multiple choice. Was it A, that he died from alcohol poisoning? Possible. Was it B, he died from kicking a safe and got sepsis as a result? Was it C, he was shot by a jealous husband? Or was it D, that he leant over a mash tun, fell in, and drowned in his own alcohol? So, was it A, B, C, or D? Alcohol poisoning, kicking a safe, shot by a jealous husband, or drowned in a mash tun? Okay, that's questions 4, 5, and 6 of our Whiskey Geek of the Week competition, which brings us very nicely to our second cocktail of the week. And I'm sort of playing with a couple of drinks here. What I've done is I've done a bit of a mashup, which seems interesting because I was just talking about mash tuns, but I've done a bit of a mashup here. And the idea is that I wanted to take a drink which I think is a fabulous drink. It's like the national drink of Brazil, and that's the caipirinha, which is cachaça with crushed lime and sugar and ice and that sort of stuff. I wanted to take the technique that they used to make that and then expand that into a bigger drink, really, and that's sort of what I've done here. So let me show you the idea. The first thing is this. Let me get my chopping board up onto the bar so you can see. So I'm going to start as if I am actually making a caipirinha, and I'm going to take a whole lime like so, and I'm going to chop it into small pieces. And by the way, if you know what a caipirinha is, or a caipirosca, then just these tips for making just that drink actually work very well. The key to this is if you want to get the most flavor out of the lime in this drink, you need to chop it into small pieces. So I'm just going to cut like this. So I'm going to end up with about 10 there. So what I've done is I've gone half again, you see, half again, and then I'm just chopping these into small pieces. Now, if I was making a caipirinha or a caipirosca, then that would now go into the glass that I was going to serve it in, but it's not. So I'm instead going to put it into my mixing glass. I'm going to put all those bits of lime from that lime, obviously, into this drink. Now I'm going to add some sugar, and it needs to be granulated sugar. It can actually be a darker, like a golden sugar, even a real sort of deep molasses sugar. But remember, if you do that, it's adding another flavor to it, really. So I'm just going with white sugar here and putting in 2 bar spoons, which is equivalent to 2 teaspoons of the granulated sugar. And then I'm going to crush this up together. Now, when we're crushing this, 2 things are happening. The first is, obviously, that I am releasing the juice in the lime, which you can see quite clearly. But the second thing, and this is the most important part of this drink, is that by squeezing it like this, I'm not just releasing the juice, but all the lime oils in the skin are getting released as well. So that will flavor this drink more than the lime juice. Now, when I've got that crushed up quite nicely, as I have, just shake that up. I'm just going to lift this off the bottom so it's not too packed in. And then I'm going to add our next ingredient. And of course, our next ingredient is our whiskey. So we're going to put in a 50ml shot of whiskey. That's good. It's very nice. I do love watching whiskey drop into a mixing glass. And then we're going to add some passion juice. So I thought that when I was using passion for Salim's drink, that I wanted to make another longer passion juice drink. And this is my drink. And I'm going to put in 100ml of our passion juice. So we've got the lime crush with the sugar, all those lime oils that I sort of expressed from the skin, our whiskey, and of course I'm going for my Chivas 18. But you can knock yourself out with whiskey here. You can go down whatever route you want. You can go Speyside, Highland, Campbelltown, Islay, whichever ones you want, whatever rocks your boat. And now we're going to give it a shake. There is another ingredient, but that will come in a second. So I'm going to take my shaker, just add some ice. That's good. And then I'm going to take my glass. This is the glass that I'm putting it in. And I'm going to add some ice to this glass as well. Put a little bit more in here. Okay, we'll get that ready. And then we're going to shake. Let's get that off of here. So sorry about this, Lubka, but you've got to give it a good shake. Here we go. And the idea is that I'm shaping all those flavors together, and everything that I released with the pestle in terms of the lime is getting bashed around inside this drink. So what we've got is the lime juices, the lime zest, all of that lime citrus flavor just sort of flooding out of the drink. So I'm now going to double strain this because I don't want any of the lime pieces into the glass. So I'm going to put it through my fine strainer, which means if anything comes through, I will catch it. I'm going to bring that pretty much up to the top of the glass, like so. That's good. As it turned out, no lime came through, but that's just perfect. And then finally, because we call this a Rio sunset, Rio after Brazil, which is the home of the caipirinha, the sunset bit is just going to be a little dash of grenadine to create what you would call a sunrise if it was a tequila sunrise, but I'd like to call this a Rio sunset. And then I'm going to garnish it with these. And these little things are just wheels of lime that I sliced up earlier, and then I put them in the oven at a low temperature for about half an hour or so just to dry them out and sort of crisp them up a little bit. So what you get is sort of the charred edges, and you might think they don't look particularly tasty, but what I can tell you is they smell amazing, that smell of cooked lime. So all the sharpness has gone out of them, and all you get is this wonderful sort of sweet citrus smell coming through. Absolutely love it. So I'm just going to probably just going to lay that on the surface of the glass like that. And I'm not sure that you can see, but I will tip the camera up a little bit so you can take a little look. And there we go. And that's it. This is our Rio sunset. Now, I've got a feeling that Mrs. Martin, Mrs. Mixer, might actually like a little drop of this one. So before she does, I'm just going to double check it myself. And it's light, and it's refreshing, and it's not sweet, as in it's not over sweet. It just tastes fruity without being sweet and fruity. That combination of lime and passion juice blended with our whiskey, and of course, you know, the sort of soft notes around the Chivas 18 works absolutely beautifully with that. So that's our Rio sunset. I'll just put that there. Actually, I'm going to have another taste of my Salim drink. And that is cocktail number 2. And cocktail number 2 means that the next cocktail we're going to come up to shortly is going to be our Mix With Me concoction. So if you are mixing with me, if you are in the game, make sure you have all your ingredients ready because the time is coming very soon. Let's see what you guys have been saying to me. Dave Chilner, well, thanks for the win. Yeah, no problem, Dave. I'll be in touch with you tomorrow. Cheryl, I'm not entirely sure what that GIF is. No, not at all. Drink it, Paul, drink it. Which one? Which one? This one. I might just drink that. All for 6. Yeah, sorry, Bruce. Lost me on that one. Don't know what that is. Or E. You drank one of your cocktails. Does anyone else's video keep repeating and jumping? Oh, have you got bad connections with me tonight, everybody? Not yet, but I might be after drinking fast. Paul, evening, Paul, late joining. Good to see you, though. We got a Blair Athol 12-year-old. Very nice. That's good, as long as it's just me. Nikki's saying mine is a bit. We'll be catching up on the first half of the broadcast later on, says Paul. That's a shame. I like the glass. Urban Bar, you can get them online. Nice. Sheila Brady, how are you doing? Good to see you. Sometimes you need to show us your cool bar glass collection. We might do that. We might actually build that into another night, I think. Maybe with a cherry. Nicky. What else we got going on down here? Paul, I'm guessing it won't be on the bar very long. Don't know. I might have knocked her out already with the Salim cocktail, that's for sure. Nikki is ready. I thought he stole yours years ago. Okay, right. Before we get on to our Mix With Me cocktail, let's have the third round of tonight's Whiskey Geek of the Week quiz. We've already done questions 1 through to 6. Now we have got questions 7, 8, and 9 coming up. How geeky are you? Let's find out. Question number 7. Which country produces a whiskey called Baines? That's it. Simple question. Which country produces a whiskey called Baines? Cheers to Salim. Just love that drink. Love that drink. That was question 7. Okay. How are you doing so far? Feel like you're on top of this? Could you be our Whiskey Geek of the Week for this week? Question number 8. Now, this is another multiple choice question. So, Johnnie Walker Black Label. So, Johnnie Walker, one of the biggest selling whiskies in the world. The Black Label is a blended whiskey and is a blend of how many whiskies? That is the question. So is Johnnie Walker a blend of A, 12 different whiskies? Is it B, 20 different whiskies? Is it C, 30 different whiskies? Or is it D, 40 different whiskies? That's the question. So Johnnie Walker Black Label is a blended whiskey. It is a blend of how many? A, 12, B, 20, C, 30, D, 40. Pick away. A lot of people never really think about how many whiskies go into that. I can tell you this, there are some amazing whiskies that go into the blend of Johnnie Walker Black Label. Question 9. This is the last one before we get into our Mix With Me. David Rose, can't see all comments. What has your dad done? Sheila, hi Paul, like the shirt. Thank you very much. David. There, back. Okay, that's good, that's good. Baines or Baines? Baines. David says Baines. B-A-I-N-E-S. Comments gone again. I'm sorry that you're having trouble. If you're having trouble, really sorry. Cherries. Paul spotted the cherries appear out of nowhere. Yeah, and you might just see me having to pass them across to someone as well. All right, question 9. Question 9, before we go into this very exciting Mix With Me cocktail. And question 9 is this. Each year, Jim Murray releases an updated version of his Whiskey Bible. So Jim Murray's Whiskey Bible, where he reviews, wow, thousands of whiskies. I mean, that man must have tasted more whiskey than anyone I can think of. So every year he releases an updated version, 2020. We've even given away a 2020 version of it. What I want to know is, which year did he release the first version of his Whiskey Bible? So he's done it every year since then, but which year did he release the first of his Whiskey Bibles? That is question 9. 3 more to go after our Mix With Me cocktail. Right, who we got? You know what, David? I also think that my own comments are starting to freeze up a little bit as well. So I think it's sort of one of those little gremlins in the system with sort of Facebook broadcasting. But hopefully they're coming back to you. Just let me know if you're okay. Cocktail seems to have disappeared off the bar. That is for sure. Now, I have decided, so somebody asked me last week, I'm pretty sure it was Bruce actually. Bruce, you can tell me if I'm right or wrong. But somebody said to me last week, why don't you ever do any blended cocktails? I thought, well, okay, I will. I mean, generally, I don't do blended cocktails because the blender is really noisy. And secondly, not everybody has a blender at home, and it's much more difficult to somehow supplant something else in its place if you don't have a blender. You know, if you're shaking something, you can use all sorts of things. But so I decided that I was going to make this drink for you as our mix with me. And if you've got a blender, fantastic. And if you haven't, there is another way of doing it. And I'm going to do both at the same time. So let's see how we get on with this. So 2 different glasses that I'm going to need for this. Slightly smaller one if I'm shaking it, which I'm going to shake it, and a slightly deeper and bigger one if I'm blending it, because I'm going to be freezing everything with the ice. So I've got both there. I'm going to take my little blender, what do you call this? My blender jug. Yes, I'm going to take my blender jug and I'm going to be doubling up the ingredients. So what I put into my shaker, I'm going to be putting in here. But nevertheless, stick with me. So hopefully you are playing along. You need whiskey, vanilla liqueur or essence or syrup, nutmeg, banana, and almond milk, or hazelnut, or milk, or coconut. But I'm using almond. Before we start, anybody else talking? Yeah, it was me. I thought it was you, Bruce. Small single serving size blenders can work for a lot of them. That's true. That is true. If you've got one of those, what do they call them? A NutriBullet or something like that, they work. They work just fine. Okay. Let's pop that there. So 2 ways of going about this. I'm going to put my shaker there. I'm going to start with the banana. So I've got this banana, which is not exactly the softest banana, but it's, you know, it's ripe enough. I would say that with bananas, you can go really ripe with these, really soft. In fact, if you're not blending it, but you're shaking it, really good to have a very soft one, but not sort of brown and just sort of turning into syrup, but just sort of easy to crush down. You have to be really careful when you say words like soft and banana together, but hey, I'm just saying what you're thinking. All right. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take a few really fine slices off the end, because I'm going to use these fine slices as my garnish for both drinks. So let me just take the end piece off of there and then really wafer thin, like so. Can you see? Hopefully you can see on camera what I'm doing. They are wafer thin slices of banana. I'm just going to put those there. Let's take another one. It's good. Just pop those over there, and one more. You wouldn't have to do as many as these, but I'm making a couple of drinks. So that leaves us with a piece of banana like that. I'm going to cut the banana in half. Now, if you are blending this drink, just chop this bit of banana into small pieces like that and put it into your blender jug. So that's what I've done there. If you are not, I would suggest cutting this into smaller pieces, because we're going to put this into our mixing glass for our shaker, and we're going to try and muddle it and mash it all down. So here we go. Let's just get my mixing glass and pop those in there. That's good. There we go. So at this stage, I've got half the banana in my blender jug. I've got half the banana in here. If you're blending yours, then you're doing this. If you're not, then you are doing this. Now, I'm going to add some whiskey, but only a little bit of whiskey. I just want the whiskey in there. I don't need it in the blender jug at this stage. I just need a tiny bit of whiskey in with the bananas to help me break these down, because I'm going to shake these bananas. But to get any of the texture and the flavor out of them, I've really got to mash them up first. And putting in a little bit of whiskey is going to help me do that. It's going to help me sort of turn this banana into almost like a banana puree. There we go. And actually, this banana is probably about ripe enough to get the perfect consistency out. This is actually very good. I'm very pleased with this. If your banana is less ripe, then you're going to have to work away at it for a bit longer. But here we go. So we're good. I'm just going to rinse this off. under. That's good. Let's pop that in there. So now we can start to put our drink together. Firstly, I want to add a little sprinkle of nutmeg, and I'm just going to put a little dash in there from here, and I'm going to put a little bit in there with the bananas. Whiskey is going to go in here now, and I want 50 ml of whiskey in both. So I've already put a tiny bit into our mixing glass, so I'm probably going to end up putting about 40 to 45 in here, so I got 50 in total. And then I'm going to put 50 into our mixing glass over here. That's good. That's good. And then we've got our milk. So I'm using almond milk. Definitely almond milk works really well for this. I love the flavor. It balances brilliantly with the other flavors in this drink. But if you've got hazelnut milk, if you're using coconut milk, if you're just using milk, it will all still work just fine. And again, we want 50 ml. So put 50 ml into this one. That's good. And then 50 ml into this one. Now, I don't know about different brands of almond milk, but this one is actually, it's quite thick. It's quite viscous and rather nice. Now, if you are adding vanilla essence now, you need 2 or 3 dashes because it's really strong. And you might actually want to add a little bit more of the milk because you need a bit more liquid in there. But if you are using a vanilla liqueur, like I am, or vanilla syrup, then all you want to put in is about 15 ml of that. So actually, I'll just turn this over. And so 15 ml in here. That's good. And then 15 ml in here. All right, so we have all our ingredients together now, either in our blender or in our shaker. Now I'm going to add some ice. Now, in terms of the blender, I want a scoop of ice, which is about so much. Actually, it's a little bit more. It's about 6 to 8 cubes of ice. Just going to put that down there, and I'm going to get the lid on, ready to set that off. And then over here, with our cocktail shaker, there it is. I'm going to put some ice into that, pour that in there, and get that tapped down. So in a second, I'm going to set them both off together. Let's just see if you're still talking to me, everybody. Cheryl, that's a better drink. Refreshing and fruity, works well with cherries, of course. Soft banana, thank you very much. Cheryl, I hope you haven't sabotaged the blender tonight. Ah, Paul, I never actually thought about that. Is that to wafer or wafer? Wafer thin, yes. I might have made a curry paste in it over the weekend. Thank you for that. Could you use vanilla ice cream? You could certainly use vanilla ice cream. It will be a different drink, but it will work really well with these ingredients. So I'm going to flip that on for 10 seconds, shake this really hard for the same period of time. Here we go. All right, good, good. Like the sound of that. So we're going to take this off, and I'm going to double strain this one that I've shaken first of all into this glass. We don't want any of the banana-y bits coming through. So it's a bit of a slow pour because obviously we've got quite a lot of banana in there, but you can see actually the consistency of the drink coming through. Let me give this a tap. It sort of helps it through. And, you know, if you are not able to blend your cocktails, for whatever reason, generally because you don't have a blender, then this is a really good way of doing it. It just takes a little bit more time. It's sort of handmade. It requires a little bit of skill, I think, and you get a general sense of achievement, I think, having managed to sort of work your way through with this. Now, if it gets stuck, as it can do in a fine strainer with this, and that's simply because the banana pulp is blocking the little holes in the strainer, then you can take a spoon in this and you can just sort of scrape it through, and it will keep pouring, as you can see, very gently. And it just eventually works its way through. And I'm just going to keep doing that for a second until we've got all of our shaken banana drink. I actually haven't even told you what I call this. I call this a banana rama. That's good. I'm actually going to stop it there because I want to move on to the other one. So let's pop that over that. That's good. And this, of course, is our blended frozen one. which means that we've sort of blended some ice into it. In fact, if I wanted to get this to sort of stand up as a frozen drink, almost like a slush, then I would have put even more ice in it. But I didn't want to ruin the flavor or the texture of the drink. There we go. So I kept the ice to a minimum just to sort of freeze it off and keep it cool. And then to garnish it, and the reason why I take these wafer-thin banana slices is that because they are so thin, you can actually lay them right on the surface of the drink and they would just sit perfectly on the surface. Kind of pretty, really. Just pop that there and just pop that one on there. And I'll bring those forward. So that is our blended version. This is our shaken version. And you might actually, with the shaken version, if you don't mind bits of banana in there as well that you've shaken up, then you can go for it and you can knock it out. But let me just sort of show you the banana sort of floating on the surface. Can you see them just there? And they just sort of sit on the surface of the drink, which is sort of cute, I think. And how did you do? How did you do? Did you blend yours? Did you shake yours? Does it look anything like this, is the question. Let me taste. Let me see if I'm happy with this drink. And it's light. And it's fruity and it's banana and it's not overpowering. It's one of those really nicely balanced drinks. Again, it's the sort of thing that you can happily drink without feeling bloated afterwards because it's sort of too heavy or too creamy. Yeah, nice, subtle drink. I think if I was going to make that for someone with a sweet tooth, I might add a bit more of the vanilla liqueur or a little bit more of the vanilla syrup. But you can mess around with the balance to see how you do it. The question is, did you make it? So if you made that drink, please send me a photograph of your drink. And I know some of you have been doing that on a regular basis. Really appreciate that. But send me your photographs. I will put them up. I love to share the fact that you guys are mixing along with me as well. So send me a photograph. And the way to do it is to either do it to me via Messenger on Facebook, or to send me a photograph either a direct using the Dream Whiskers email that I send all my mails to you from. Bruce, what's going on? You forgot to make blender sound while shaking that. Ah, yes. No, you can add that. That's absolutely right. Bananarama, yes. What was question 5? I'll come back to that, Barry. I'll tell you question 5 in a second. Shaken version is the James Bond Bananarama. Okay. Kaz is saying, looks lovely. Cheryl, I'm your Venus. What's that say? At your, because I haven't got the whole thing there. At your, I'm your Venus. At your, can't see what that says. At your desire. Your desire. Gary, I'd like to try that using mango. Yeah, try it using mango. Why not? I mean, one of the things that I love about cocktails and mixology is, sorry, just eating the last bit of banana there, is that I'm not over precious about it. You know, as in any sort of skill, you know, you can get people who are very precious. But I think some of the best drinks come from people saying, I like that idea, but I think I could do it with this, and you end up with a better drink. So let us know what you got. But tell me, how many of you did that? Did you do it? None of you have told me that you're doing it, even though I knew a few of you were actually doing it. How are we doing? Well, I've got a no. I've got a shake of the head from the person whose hand you see. I'm sure she's going to put a comment up in a second. Dave, big thumbs up. Bruce, we'll be doing mine a bit later in the blender. Okay. Drinking mine now, says Nikki. Paul Slade gone again. Yeah, excellent idea, Bruce. To Gary, I think, or to Dave. And Yummy, gone twice. Okay, right. So I've actually had a couple of thumbs down from my wife, who is my #1 critic. But I have to say, without having a #1 critic, you're not going to go anywhere, are you? So personally, I think it balances nicely. Might make it a bit sweeter. If you make yours a bit sweeter, let me know if that's better. If you try it with mango, let me know if that's better. If you try it with ice cream, let me know if that's better. Ice cream would be great, but it'd be very sort of desserty type drink. Overall, I think that's a cracking drink. What else have we got here? We did it, said Nikki. Trevor Nichols just joined us. Not sweet enough for Cheryl. Do they taste different, Cheryl? Oh, the two drinks, yeah. Do they taste different? Actually, they do. Well, they should taste different because this one here, even though it's got the same ingredients, has had the ice blended into it. So it's got more ice, more water in it. So yeah, tastes a lot colder, lighter, icier, all of those things that I guess. All right, last three questions of our Whiskey Geek of the Week quiz. Here we go, see how we're doing. So Barry, I think you want to know what question 5 was, so I'll say that again. I said, where is the only place in Lynchburg where you can legally buy a bottle of Jack Daniels? Okay, that was question 5. Where is the only place in Lynchburg where you can legally buy a bottle of Jack Daniels? By the way, you guys, I'm actually thinking of doing a competition with you lot, like a cocktail competition, where you send in your recipes and your cocktails, and we do some kind of judging with that. Or maybe you send in your cocktails and your recipes, and then I will mix them up here as part of a broadcast, and we'll do a sort of online virtual cocktail competition. And I don't know, maybe I'll get Cheryl and well, we can't really get anybody else in at the moment, but maybe I can get Cheryl and Jessica, maybe, who were all on lockdown together, to judge them. Yeah, what do you think? How about that? Bruce, I'll be using vanilla flavored almond milk, coffee sweetener, very sweet. Yeah, okay. Cheryl will probably like that one, Bruce. Lipica's making it tomorrow. Look, whenever you make it, please send me your pictures. Cheryl's is preferring the blended one. The other one is bitter, she says. Interesting. All right, here we go. Last three questions for our Whiskey Geek of the Week competition. Question number 10. So there are two main producers of Tennessee whiskey. I'm not counting these local producers, so there's quite a few local producers, but there are two sort of big producers of Tennessee whiskey. One, of course, is Jack Daniels. What is the other one? So what is the other one? The other brand, what is it? Cheryl, I'll be your judge. Yes, you will. Kaz, sounds like a good idea. Thank you. I'll come up with a cocktail or two, says Bruce. Yeah, I'm sure. I think it's a good idea. How many of you want to do that? I know that Michael Nolan mixes cocktails. We saw him earlier on in the broadcast. I think he probably had to dive off. I'm not sure. But I know he does. I know Steve does. How many of you are doing it? Nikki's been making cocktails in California. So maybe she can get involved as well. Question 11. How many spirit stills do Macallan have? So over the last few years, Macallan have expanded. Demand for their whiskey has gone through the roof. You know, they're making the most ridiculously expensive whiskies on the planet, and so on and so forth. But they have expanded, and they even opened up an old still house some years ago as well as part of that. Redeveloped. How many spirit stills do they have? So is it A, 12, B, 15, C, 20, or D, 24? Multiple choice there. Is it A, 12, B, 15, C, 20, or D, 24? And that brings us very nicely to the final question in our Whiskey Geek of the Week competition. Who is it going to be? I've got a feeling already Richard Webster, Michael Nolan, is gone from our broadcast this evening for one reason or another, which means he can't be winning it for a third time. So who is it going to be? Who is it going to be? Paul Slade. You like P.T. Marmite cocktails then? Cheryl, that sounds like my kind of drink, Bruce. Okay, sounds like an idea. I like the sound of your responses, everyone. Here we go, question 12. What is the connection between Tabasco sauce, you know, that hot pepper sauce that you put into Bloody Marys, among other things, and whiskey? So what is the connection between Tabasco sauce and whiskey? Interesting one, this. Yeah, what is it? What's the connection? So, the deal is this. Each question, 12 questions that you've had, now you should have answered 1 to 12, is worth 1 point. So you have a mark out of 12. In a second, I'm going to go through the answers to all the questions, and you total up your score. Post your score in the box, and please be honest. Don't cheat. No point saying you got 12 when you only actually knew 1 and you Googled the other 11. Just tell us the truth. If we have a tie, I have a really cool tie break question, which I might share with you anyway, because I kind of like the question. So whether we have a tie break or not, I'll share the question with you. And then we've got our quick spot prize competition where we're giving away those 3 bottles, those 3 mini taster bottles of Talisker. And then I'm going to sum up what we've done this week before we go on to another fabulous evening next Wednesday. So here are the questions and here are the answers. Get your pens and paper ready and let's see how well you did. Question 1 was this. If you stop the whiskey making process just before distillation, what other popular beverage would you be left with? The answer is beer. You'd be left with a beer. Essentially, when you make whiskey, you sort of make beer first, and then you put the beer in a still and you distill it. So the answer is beer. I don't know if you know the word wort or wort, W-O-R-T. That's what it's called, but it's a beer. So beer is what we're looking for. Question 2. I said, when you're referring to Scotch whiskey, whiskey is spelt without an E. And when you talk about American whiskey, that is spelt with an E. But I said there's another country outside the USA that spells whiskey with an E. What is the country? The country I was looking for is Ireland. Irish whiskey. Ireland spell whiskey with an E. New comment. Holly, thank you for joining us. Hey, Holly. Holly's joined us right at the end, but good to see you there. Thank you very much. Always good to see Holly. Holly was part of our pub quiz team. That is Cheryl, Holly, and I. When we used to do pub quizzes and go and see people in pubs, which we, of course, don't do anymore. Oh, not for now. Anyway, of course, there's about 5 million pub quizzes online now, isn't there? Question number 3, at the 2020 World Whiskey Awards, I said to you, which country produced the world's best single malt? It wasn't Scotland. In 2020 at the World Whiskey Awards, the world's best single malt whiskey was produced by Japan. Japan. That's question number 3. If you've got 3 questions right, you've got 3 points, 3 out of 3. Question number 4. Apart from Lynchburg in Tennessee, in how many other countries is Jack Daniel produced? So Jack Daniels produced probably one, if not the biggest selling whiskey on the planet. Every single drop of it is made in Lynchburg, Tennessee. They don't make it anywhere else. The answer is 0, none. No other countries make Jack Daniels. It is only made in Lynchburg. In fact, I think that's the only thing they do in Lynchburg is make Jack Daniels. Question 5, where is the only place in Lynchburg where you can legally buy a bottle of Jack Daniels? So this is the deal. You can't buy Jack Daniels in a store, in a shop, in a bar in Lynchburg because it's a dry county. They never repealed prohibition. So the only place you can buy a bottle of Jack Daniels is in the Jack Daniels distillery shop. You can buy a bottle of Jack Daniels in the Jack Daniels distillery shop. But actually, you can't even buy a regular bottle of Jack Daniels there. You can only buy a commemorative bottle. And you're not allowed to drink it until you get out of Lynchburg. How crazy is that? Okay, so the answer I'm looking for is at the Jack Daniels distillery or the Jack Daniels distillery shop. Give yourself a point if you got that. I asked you for question number 6, how did Jack Daniel die? Did he A, die of alcohol poisoning, kicking a safe, shot by a jealous husband, or drowned in a mash tun? He died from kicking a safe. So this is the story. The story goes that he constantly forgot the combination to his safe. He got frustrated one morning. He kicked the safe. He broke his toe. His toe became infected. He ended up getting sepsis, and he died of that. So he died of kicking a safe. And if you've ever been to the Jack Daniels distillery, which I'm sure some of you probably have, then that's one of the photo opportunities. You take a photograph of yourself kicking the same safe as Jack Daniels did. So the answer I was looking for was B, kicking a safe. Oh, sorry, wife's just correcting me here on Holly. I said she's in our pub quiz team. Wife's also telling me she's also my daughter-in-law to be. Yeah, of course. Yeah, I forgot that small detail. Yeah, marrying into the family. Bad choice, Holly, but hey, she's going to be part of the family, daughter-in-law to be next year. So if you want to say congratulations to Holly, then knock yourself out. Say congratulations to Holly. That was question 6. Who's got 6 out of 6 so far? Question 7. Which country produces Baines whiskey? Baines. I mean, I actually feel like the name is giving it away, but the answer is South Africa. South Africa produces Baines whiskey. I've actually got a bottle of it here. Do you want to see the bottle? I'll show you the bottle. Actually, this is an old bottle. They've updated the design, but this is the bottle. Baines whiskey, Cape Mountain whiskey from South Africa. That's Baines. That's question number 7, easy one. Question number 8 was this. How many whiskies are used to blend Johnnie Walker Black Label? I gave you 4 choices, right? I said 12, 20, 30, 40. Believe it or not, they blend Johnnie Walker Black Label from 40 different whiskies. There are 40 whiskies in Johnnie Walker Black Label. And Paul Slade, I'm pretty sure, and you can take me to task on this, but I got a feeling there's a bit of Talisker in there as well. So interesting, isn't it? Yeah. Oh, congrats, Holly. Well done, Paul. Thank you very much for saving my bacon there. Question number 9. And that was D, by the way, 40. D, 40. Question 8. Question 9. Each year, Jim Murray releases an updated version of his Whiskey Bible, but what year was it first released? It was released, first of all, in 2003. So 2003, ever since then, 2020 was the 18th edition of his Whiskey Bible. And an amazing book it is as well. I've got a couple of versions of it. It updates every year. I guess it becomes easier to update each year, doesn't it, rather than retry all 30,000 whiskies or whatever's in it. Yes, question number 10. There are 2 main producers of Tennessee whiskey. This is not counting local producers of whiskey. These are international, global sellers of whiskey. So there's 2 of them. One is Jack Daniels. What is the other one? The name I'm looking for is George Dickel. George Dickel produces a Tennessee whiskey. Also, on numerous occasions, produces quite a laugh as well when you say George Dickel. Sounds like a sort of, I don't know, the sort of thing that a child under the age of about 7 would laugh at. Question number 11. That's 10 so far. Question number 11. How many spirit stills do Macallan have at their distillery? Spirit stills. I asked you, was it 12, 15, 20 or 24? The answer is 24. That was D. 24 spirit stills. They have to just keep up with production. I have to say they're pretty small stills as stills go. You know, if you compare them to, I don't know, Glenlivet, I think have quite tall ones, quite big ones. But yeah, they're pretty small, but they're working at full capacity because people want to spend thousands of pounds on Macallan whiskey. And finally, question 12. I wonder if any of you are actually lining up for 12 out of 12 here. I said to you, what is the connection between Tabasco sauce and whiskey? Well, the connection is this. When they make Tabasco sauce, they take loads and loads of chilies, they chop them up really fine, they add loads of vinegar, they add loads of sugar, and they create this sort of mash, this paste, and the paste is aged. They actually call it a mash, and it's aged in ex-bourbon barrels. They stuff it in barrels for about 3 years, and it ages and it matures in those barrels, getting, I guess, some of the benefit of all the whiskey that has been in those barrels. So that is the connection. The connection is the barrels that the Tabasco sauce is aged in for 3 years. So 12 questions, 12 points. How many did you get? Please put your scores in the comments box and let me know how many you got right. If we end up with a tie break, I have a great tie break question. John McBrien, who is not a million miles away from me, has just joined at the very death of our broadcast. But thank you for joining, John. Good to see you. Paul got really ratted on Black Label a long time ago in Cape Town. I reckon that's a good place to get ratted. Replying to Cheryl, Nikki saying, oh, congrats. Oh, of course. Just realized what, God, yes, God, I'm not very good at sharing the news. Bob. Only got 7. Bob, 7 is good. 7 is good. Wow, what we got here? David Rose, 11 out of 12. Damn. Kaz, you got 12. Kaz, you're going to be a 2-time Geek of the Week. Wow. Barry got 10 only. You guys are saying only, but I think So Paul missed the first 6 questions, so only scored 3 tonight. Oh, well, listen, Paul, it's about you being in there. Sheila's saying congratulations to Holly. Now I'm feeling guilty. Mark got 9. Oh, Michael's in. I think you're gone, Michael. So already Richard Webster, our 2-time Whiskey Geek of the Week, our current reigning Whiskey Geek of the Week. 11, I counted the Macallan wash stills as well. Yeah, sorry. Question was spirit stills. You see, that's the trouble, Michael. You're going over geeky. You out-geeked yourself, I think, there. Paul Slade, 5 again. At least I'm consistent. I think consistency is key here. It means you're reliable. Dave missed the first 5, so only got 4, but 4 out of what? That's 4 out of 7. That's not so bad. John, sorry, Paul. Been in the garden. John, there's nothing wrong with being in the garden, especially like a day like today. Dave is saying, looks like Kaz. Bruce saying, how about a score for the worst performance? Whiskey Dunce of the Week. Listen, I like the idea of that, Bruce. I just think that whilst there's a few people who are going to laugh at that, I think that some people are going to be, obviously offended. Something I definitely want to avoid. Bruce, are you saying that you actually got the Whiskey Dunce of the Week this week? I think at the moment it's looking like Kaz. Anybody else get the full house? Anybody else get 12? Looks like nobody else get 12. Who wants my tie-break question anyway? Everyone can play at this. I just think it's a kind of cool question. My tie-break question is this. So the biggest Scotch whisky collection in the world is at the Scotch Whisky Experience in Edinburgh. It is the Clive Vidyth Whisky Collection, or the Clive Vidyth Whisky Collection, depending on whether you're from South America or not, I guess. What I want to know is how many bottles in that collection. So the biggest whiskey collection in the world is in Edinburgh at the Scotch Whisky Experience, a very good place to visit if you're interested. And I want to know how many bottles are there in the Diageo Clive Vidyth Whisky Collection. What else have we got here? Well done, Kaz. Lubka only got 2. That's all right, Lubka. It's about the taking part, I'm absolutely sure. Bruce is saying I might have. Great show again, Paul. Cheers. Thank you, Gary. I really appreciate that. Congrats to Kaz. Making lunch while sipping on my cocktail. Hope it'd be edible. Alex has joined just at the death. Right. David Rose is saying 3,000 plus. Alex is saying hi from your ex-quiz partner. Kaz is saying 3,384. Kaz, you're showing off now. I hope you're not Googling this. Paul Slater is saying 5,000. Gary is saying, well done. And Dave Chilton, 4,300. Kaz is actually giving you the answer. Kaz, if you got that off the top of your head, I am awestruck, dumbstruck. Well, not dumbstruck because I need to keep talking, but I am in awe of your incredible whiskey knowledge. On the other hand, Kaz, if you Googled that, no skill there. But you are, regardless, our Whiskey Geek of the Week for a second time. Kaz, you know what you need to do at the end of the broadcast. Picture of yourself with a glass of whiskey or a bottle of whiskey or some other whiskey, and send it over to us and we'll put you back up on the Hall of Fame. Congratulations on winning our Whiskey Geek of the Week. Really appreciate everybody playing that. That was superb. Kaz, by the way, different set of pajamas this time if you're going to do a pajama photograph. Very quickly, we've got our quiz for our members. If you are not a member, sign up and become a member. You could be winning whiskey. We've already had tonight somebody who's won one of our major whiskey prizes for the second time. Plus, he was also a bonus prize winner previously. We've also previously had winners for a couple of times. This is generally because we actually don't have a huge number of members signed up. Your chances of winning are great. Plus, we've got all sorts of other bits and pieces that we're chucking in for members as we endeavor to expand and grow. So click on the link and you know what? Sign up and become a member. It helps us to give you these broadcasts and everything else. But one of the things that we do for members is this little spot prize giveaway. We're giving away 3 miniatures of Talisker Sky, Storm, and the 10-year-old. And you can win it if you answer these 4 questions. You don't answer them here. You click the link in the description and you go to the website to put your answers in. So real quickly, just for the members, so we don't lose the interest of people who are not our members yet. Question number 1, it all relates to our cocktails. I want to know, what is the name of the person who invented the Blushing Monarch cocktail? This one here that I've half drunk now. I told you about him many times, good friend of mine. What was his name? Question number 2, what country did he originally come from? told you that as well. Even read it out of my book. So check that out. What title did he win in 1992? He won a very important bartender title. What was it? And question number 4, who did he name the Blushing Monarch cocktail after? So it was named after a royal. Who was it? All 4 of those questions are multiple choice questions and answers that you can find on our website so that you can enter with a chance of winning those 3 miniature Talisker giveaways. The link is in the description. Now, last thing that I want to say to you before I go, by the way, a few more comments. I don't want to leave anybody out. Some well done to Kaz, Dave Chilton, Barry Lotz, Sure Martin. Oh, goodness, we went there. 3,300. Yes, we were there, weren't we? 3,400 said Mark. Kaz, I got it because my son has been. And you got an amazing memory, I would say, Kaz, as well. More congrats to Kaz. Well done, Kaz. Cheryl's, why am I not something? I only get half of those little gifts, which is why I can't read the whole thing properly. So I want to say this to you. If you like the cocktails that I do, then I have another page which I've just set up where I'm putting up exclusive cocktail video content. If you really like that sort of stuff, it's a large part of what I do when I'm not just doing Dream Whiskies. In fact, it's the major part of what I've done for about 35 years. And I'm putting all sorts of exclusive content up on a weekly basis on a Patreon page. And I've put the link in the description. If you would like to be a patron, if you would like to get access to that, go along, click on the link, become a patron. I was going to release it properly last week. I haven't done so, so it's still in the adding content phase, which I'm filming on a regular basis. But you can go there and be one of the very first to sign up and be one of my patrons, which would be absolutely amazing. And you can come on that journey. And we're just going to keep populating it with more and more exclusive stuff. So we have our winners of last week's competitions. We have our Whiskey Geek of the Week for the second time. It is Kaz Bridges. So congratulations to her. Well done. We have our 3 cocktails of the week. If you made one, please send me a picture. By messenger or direct by email to paul@dreamwhiskies.com. And that is us done for this week. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you're all staying well. And until the same time, same place, next week, 7 o'clock on Wednesday, or what will be the 27th. Stay well and be happy and safe. See you next week.